Hey everyone, welcome to another exciting episode of the Scratch a Truck podcast presented by the Dude and Grim Show. I am the Dude.
And I am Grim. Happy New Year. And we are going to kick off 2021 giving some first impressions of the teaser, I guess you'd call it, that was released for the Beatles Get Back, which is a film directed by Peter Jackson. And as I understand it, dude, it's sort of an alternate documentary as to what was originally released from the Let It Be recording sessions by, of course, the Beatles. We started the podcast with the Beatles, so we're starting the next year the podcast with the Beatles.
Yeah, it seems fitting.
It is. And you know, to those who don't like the Beatles, I'm sorry. That's really unfortunate for you. There's a reason that they are and always will be the best rock band ever. And it's not just our opinion here. I would say that, you know, like
it's fact.
Yeah, like the word is out and it's pretty unanimous. So I hope yeah.
Yeah, I mean, from a historical context, I mean, this documentary now mainly focuses on the recording of the Let It Be album, which is at the tail end of their career. So, I mean, it doesn't do really what the Beatles Anthology did, which followed them throughout their whole career. But so essentially what happened was, and now this is kind of Peter Jackson's baby. For those who don't know, he's like the creator, director of Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit. I don't know too much about him as a director like I do about like Tarantino and Kubrick and Scorsese. Those guys are, you know, big music fans as well. Like Scorsese, he's done documentaries on Bob Dylan,
the Stones, right?
And he's done some live stuff with the Stones. I don't know if he's done a documentary.
Okay.
He did one on George Harrison and everything. So I don't know if Peter Jackson has some sort of special connection to the Beatles, but either way, he's doing this and it should be cool. But essentially, they took the footage. So when they were recording the Let It Be album, Paul McCartney had this great idea that he wanted to film like the rehearsal sessions, the recording sessions, and
culminating with the rooftop concert. Correct? That was like the culmination of the sessions. Yeah,
they didn't know they wanted to film the last live show. They didn't know exactly what it was going to be at that point. I think when they started recording. But that's kind
of how it materialized.
Yeah. But so we got the director, Michael Lindsay Hogue, and a bunch of people to film them in Twickenham Studios, which is a film studio, kind of rehearsing and recording. And then, you know, everybody they didn't love doing that. And I think, you know, in the Beatles Anthology, I don't know if you remember, Grim, they kind of talk about it being like this kind of cold, dark place. It just wasn't a very conducive for creativity.
Yes. And it seemed like, especially in the context of like whether you're watching the Anthology or that documentary, the original specifically, like very strained.
Yeah.
And it's funny you bring up cold because and then you fast forward to the footage of them on the rooftop. I mean, they're all wearing like jackets. Like it looked cold up there too.
It was cold as hell. Yes. I'm sure it was. Yeah. Well, so, you know, they were in there and they didn't really love it. So then they actually moved into the recording studio. They brought in Billy Preston to play on the album, and that kind of livened things up a little bit.
Couldn't have made a better choice there.
Yeah. So they did that, and they have all this footage, and I think Peter Jackson said they have over 55 hours of unseen footage. Now, in 1970, Michael Lindsay Hogue, they actually did come out with a documentary called Let It Be, and it does show the recording of that album, and then it also shows the live performances of them on the rooftop. Now, I have that VHS. I can't fully say. I think it shows 5 of the songs. This new version it says it's going to show the whole on the rooftop performance. Now,
that would be awesome.
So here's the interesting thing about that though, Grim, is they played nine tracks on the rooftop. However, they played Get Back 3 times, Don't Let Me Down twice, I've Got a Feeling twice, One After 909, and then Dig a Pony. So I'm wondering if they're going to show like each version or each cut.
Yeah, I would be interesting to see that. And I can't, granted, we're not doing the album Let It Be Here, so we haven't done our homework to the level that we would if we were doing the album. But if I'm not mistaken, I believe that some of the tracks that made the final album were actually pulled from that rooftop concert.
Oh, really?
If I'm not mistaken, I think that some of them were. And I think maybe it was like One After 909, because Billy Preston was on the rooftop with them playing like a silver sparkle top Rhodes piano. And that's very clearly heard in some of those. So I think I'm thinking like maybe Dig a Pony and I've Got a Feeling even maybe in One After 909. I think like there were a couple that were from that, but again, don't quote me on that. And if you have information, better information than what I think that I recall, I would love to have definitive facts on that.
Yeah, I'm not.
If you were there, that would even be better.
If you were there, hope you got some pictures. Yeah, I don't know one way or the other. I do know that that album kind of was put off to the side, and Phil Spector just kind of came in and just like put it together and everything. So who knows what he did and what tracks he used and everything from all the recordings. But it sounds like they have tons of footage, tons of audio and everything from it. And from the from what I saw, it didn't seem like it. So this documentary has also been approved by McCartney and Ringo, Yoko and Olivia Harrison. So it's like all the the Beatles and the estates, I guess, have approved this,
signed off.
And McCartney said that he's like really happy that Peter Jackson is doing this because he wants to show kind of the truth about how the Beatles recorded together. And even Ringo Starr said, he was like, there was a lot of like good moments and laughing and fun times recording that weren't shown in the Let It Be film. And I think that's really apparent, from the trailer or whatever you kind of want to call it, that that has been shown for what this documentary is going to be. You see him kind of like laughing and joking around and dancing in the studio and everything. So it's quite a contrast.
Yeah. And I'd like to see that because, I think we kind of talked offline about this a little bit, but it's like anything where there's a huge volume of things to dig through. You can pull parts and pieces off and make it appear a certain way. Yeah, sure. And dude, I did read a little more, and I was right on those three songs. I've Got a Feeling, One After 909, and Dig a Pony were from the rooftop.
Damn. Wow. Good shit, bro.
Mark it, dude.
Nice work.
Mark it.
Awesome. Well, I mean, I think that kind of wraps it up. We really just wanted to talk about, hey, this is coming out, what we think it's going to be. Really it's going to be, this footage is not really interview footage. It's more fly on the wall stuff. And I imagine, I don't know how they'll intersplice it with the live rooftop stuff. Yeah. If it'll just show kind of a build up to that, and then they'll show the live show at the end. I think it'll be really cool to kind of see how it's all put together, and the footage looks good.
I know it does. One thing I would like to see, and I hope that they cover in this, is that you kind of got two producers here, because George Martin was the original producer, we'll say, during the recording, and then of course Phil Spector picked this up and I guess put in some, or I don't know who put in, but there were some overdubs that had been done and either added or whatever. And I guess that George Martin was informed that he would not get the production credit because Spector produced the final version. And his comment was, I produced the original, and what you should do is have a credit saying produced by George Martin, overproduced by Phil Spector.
Oh,
which I think is pretty funny.
Shots fired, man. That's
but it is interesting though, because I mean, if you want to get down to it, I mean, you could make a pretty good argument, especially in this album, for Billy Preston being the fifth Beatle as you would have it. But dude, I'm sorry, that has to go to George Martin, just with all the stuff and all the scoring he did. I mean, he was so like integral in their sound throughout their career. And that's why this album in a way is kind of an outlier, because it didn't necessarily have like his final like blessing, the chef's kiss.
There is that. There definitely is that. And, we've researched, and on Wednesday we'll have a Beatles album coming out that he had a huge hand in. And where he wrote a lot of the orchestration, and a lot of the brass parts and things like that.
But probably less of a hand than he had in the past.
In the past too. Yeah.
So we'll leave it at that.
Interesting. We'll leave it right there. Well, I think that kind of wraps it up here, Graham. I mean, I'm looking forward to this documentary. I forget the exact date. I want to say it's coming out towards the end of August in 2021. So we do have some time. If you guys haven't seen the they don't describe it. It's not a preview. It's not a trailer. It's more of a montage, and it's just showing some photo or video and audio and from the song "Get Back" and everything. And we'll link it below, and we definitely recommend checking it out. I think it looks pretty cool, whether you're a Beatles fan or not.
Yeah, and watching that, it's been a while since probably since like college, right? Since we watched the VHS tape that you had of the original one. But it was some of that stuff I felt like, especially when you saw him in that sectioned off thing, like doing takes of Get Back. Like maybe it's time, but I don't remember seeing that. And I certainly don't remember seeing the footage of them kind of laughing and goofing around when they're
dancing.
Like, he's like reading the newspaper of George Harrison's accused. John Lennon's reading the news. Yeah, it's funny.
He's like, he's expected in court tomorrow for, walking out of a pub with Ringo and, knocking a reporter over. I don't know, who knows what it was. But it's I think there's going to be some good nuggets in there. So I'm definitely looking forward to seeing it. And I think it, might shed a little more light on the Let It Be sessions themselves, as well as the rooftop concert. So, well, I think that wraps up. I think that wraps up our very first episode of 2021. So we hope that if you guys haven't subscribe and comment below, that you will do it now.
Oh wow!
And
well played. Yeah.
I know, right? You like that? So. You should definitely do that now, and you should follow us. We got a lot of classic albums, some alternative stuff, mixing it up this year. It's
we spent a lot of time doing the draft for 2021. And,
we did. We got it scheduled. We're going to do some first impressions.
So we had to start the first thing. The first of the year is a first impression, and from there, the sky's the limit. It's going to go
places.
Hopefully.
It's going to go places. Yeah, so. All right, well, that's going to wrap it up here. It's time to go. On the Dude and Grim Show.
Later.
Scratch a Track is produced by the Dude and Grim. Additional music provided by Moore and the Tims. Copyright 2021. The Dude and Grim Show.